Welcome back to the fourth installment in our search for the greatest House MD episode ever. I've picked 3 total episodes that I deemed worthy of this challenge, and we've found some solid, memorable House bangers. I think of the 3 that we've chosen, 3 stories from season 1 is probably the best, although Help Me is a close second. Now, who would I be to at least not talk about the series finale being a contender for this title? Do I objectively think that Everybody Dies is the greatest House MD episode ever? Nope. Okay, but seriously, there's a lot to talk about with this episode, and I really want to focus on the meat and potatoes of it. I don't want to rehash Brown's every detail. Damn, I must be hungry. There's a lot of good in this episode, but there's also a lot of stuff that bothers me. Let's do a quick recap, since it's probably been a while for you too. At the start of the series finale, Everybody Dies, House awakens besides a lifeless body in a burning building, haunted by hallucinations of past colleagues. He argues with these manifestations of his subconscious about giving up and dying, since he's going to be in jail for Wilson's final days because he's got cancer.
Cancer is bad. Cancer fucking sucks. Hey, I'd like some cancer, please. No.
Later in the episode, flashbacks reveal that the man next to House, Oliver, is a patient of his. Part of the episode is spent on House trying to remember what's wrong with Oliver in traditional House fashion. House eventually remembers that Oliver intended to falsely confess to a vandalism charge on House's behalf, so House wouldn't go to jail. Of course, the patient is not the focus of the episode. We get a lot of flashbacks and cameos too. Stacy, Cameron, Kuttner, Amber, but no Cuddy. They talk about House, who he is, what he wants, his shortcomings, his purpose. Wilson and Foreman grow concerned over a missing House and deduce that he may have accompanied Oliver in seeking heroin instead of preparing to go back to prison. They trace Oliver's whereabouts to the burning structure and witness House trapped inside it as it explodes.
You know he did.
They assume he dies. Later, during the funeral service, we get a slew of eulogies from practically everybody on the show. But again, no Cuddy. When it's Wilson's turn to speak, he gets a text message letting him know that House is alive. Wilson, distraught, gets asked the question,
How do you want to spend your last 5 months?
House gives up everything just to comfort Wilson. The concluding shots of the show depict all of our favorite House characters and what they'll be doing after. The last scene famously depicts House and Wilson embarking on a motorcycle journey across the country with the final line,
Cancer's boring.
"It's enough to make a grown man cry." So there's some really good stuff in this episode, but it's riddled with issues. Let's start with the good because I am such an optimist. I think that this pseudo-happy ending is a good fit for House's overall character arc, and it makes sense in the context of the show. Not only does House finally commit a really selfless act, but he's giving up the one thing that's ever been important to him, being a doctor and solving puzzles. He's grown as a person, which is why he's doing this. And more importantly, I think we get the feeling that he'll be okay after Wilson dies. Who knows what the world has to offer once his best friend is gone, but the introspection and mystery that this episode casts upon us, I think is a proper fitting for an end. And of course it goes without saying, seeing House give up everything he cares for to comfort his best friend, I think this is the redemption arc and the House we've always wanted. Just like the initial tagline of the show, would you rather have a doctor who's nice to you while you die, or ignores you while you get better? House is not a man of words, he's a man of actions, and it shows. There's also a lot of really good moments in this episode that I personally think back on with a smile. The text to Wilson and his reaction, Foreman finding House's ID badge under the table, House's final line, seeing Stacy after 6 seasons and getting a glimpse into an alternate reality where House is happy. Kuttner and Amber also add a nostalgic, mysterious element to the episode that reminds us of those amazing season 5 episodes. I think there might have been a plan at some point to kill off House, but I think that would have been a mistake. I think this is better. Okay, all the positive atoms have left my body. There's a lot of things wrong with this season finale, and I don't want to harp too long on all the points that people have been making for the last 10 years. But I think I'd be doing this series a disservice if I didn't mention them briefly. The first thing that bothers me about Everybody Dies is that way too much time is spent on a patient that I don't think we really care about. Not every patient in every episode of House is a winner. This guy does a fine job, but there have been a multitude of other episodes where House treats patients we connect with and actually care about. I'm not saying this had to be done here by any means, especially for the series finale, but this just sort of feels hollow. We have 40 minutes to wrap up the entire show, and we spend about half of it on this guy. I don't know, maybe I'm being a dick.
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole.
I understand that the episode is embracing the spirit and the soul of the show, which is a medical mystery Sherlock's home piece. But I'd honestly rather see 40 minutes of House and Wilson eating a burger at Shake Shack after they drive away. Wait, did Shake Shack exist in 2012? Another big problem with this episode is that it feels really strange that Cuddy's not there. Especially knowing that literally every other character came back for the episode. I don't think the actual reasons are very clear as to why she left for season 8, but regardless, when the second-ish most important character in 7 seasons of a show can't come back for 30 seconds. I mean, come on. Like 2 dead people showed up for this shit. Kuttner left to work under Obama, and even he could be here for this.
I am honored to accept your nomination for President of the United States.
Also, the explanation as to how House escaped the burning building and faked his death are stupid at best.
I got out of the back of the building.
The body.
Just switched the dental records.
Like, he makes this sound so easy it's laughable. Yes, I know we're supposed to suspend disbelief, but this is a stretch. House has his leg issue, right? Like, he can barely walk. To think he kind of took off out the back, like he's fucking Captain America, is ridiculous. And switch the dental records. I know that House is smart, but this is dumb. Yes, I know we're not supposed to think about the details. We're just supposed to think about how House faked his death, and he's not going to prison. Well, that's hard for me. I know that this is another allusion to Sherlock Holmes, who also fakes his death. But we've had enough references throughout the whole show. Can we just make this make sense? The last problem I have with this episode, as others also have mentioned, is that the final song doesn't fit. As House and Wilson are riding away, a song plays. Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. This was apparently suggested by Hugh Laurie, because David Shore thought the "you can't always get what you want" would have been too on the nose. I think it was the first season that was kind of like the anthem for the show. It kind of reflected House's behavior, his attitude, and I think those lyrics are perfect for Wilson and House's final journey. Maybe too perfect. I respect not conforming to what is expected and too on the nose, but I don't know. Once I heard this, I couldn't get it out of my mind. So that about sums up my thoughts on this episode. I do like it, don't get me wrong. There is a lot to enjoy. But a lot about it bothers me, and I don't think I'm alone in that. I can confidently say that this is far from the best House episode, but we've got to give it a score. So with that being said, I'll give Everybody Dies a 6.5 out of 10.